DreAllDay.com.
Name a show better than this. Exactly. You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That's the go-getter energy that moves me, you, and everyone else out there to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together into one bundle, one mindset, one method, one philosophy. There's a book by the same name, this masterclass, and this show that is known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. Today's topic, someday means never. And I'm saying someday in quotation marks. Quote, someday, close quote. That usually means never. In other words, when you have a plan on doing something, but there's no actual date, there's no actual deadline, you're saying, well, one day I'm going to do it, or someday I'm going to do it, or, after this and this and this happens, then I'm going to do it. That usually means it's not going to happen. That means never. That's code word for never. This masterclass is about having the urgency about the things that you want to do with your life and respecting the fact that time is not slowing down for you. Now, all of us have things that we want to do, and much of the things that we claim we want to do with our lives, a lot of those plans, they're on the back burner. The back burner being there's no plan on getting to it, there's no schedule for getting to it, and therefore we're probably never going to get to it. Because here's the thing, and if you're old enough to understand this, and you could be 12 years old, you probably maybe not 12, but let's say 21 years old or older, you probably have seen this in your life, that your whole life's schedule is never going to clear out perfectly for you to just do everything that you want to do. Now, that's probably never going to happen. I know that you hope that one day that will happen. I know you wish it would happen that way sometime, but it's not going to happen. And you got a lot of things that you want to do with your life that you will do as soon as everything in the schedule clears out so that it's perfect. Everything's just perfect. This is perfect road and runway for you to do all these things that have been sitting on your back burner for so long. The thing is, that's never going to occur. That situation will never occur. The stars will never line up that way for you to finally get to those things that are on that back burner, on that someday list. So let's address this here today. What you can do with these things and why you should probably start doing them or getting rid of them, one or the other, because otherwise it's just going to sit on that back burner forever and they're going to get stale and might draw ants and roaches. So let's get into it. Point number one, today's topic, once again, someday means never. Point number one, what gets scheduled gets done. When people want more time control, anyone asks me, how do I get more control over my time? I feel like I'm doing this, and this. I'm doing all these things, but I'm not actually getting them done. How can I get more control over my time? One of the simplest first orders of business that I give a person is this. Stop making to-do lists and put everything on your calendar. Instead of putting things on a list, like 20, 30, 50, 10 things on a list that you need to do, instead, make everything fit into your calendar. Because see, the difference between a to-do list and a calendar is that a calendar has limits. A calendar has a limit of 24 hours in a day. You're probably not awake for that whole 24. And the to-do list is unlimited. You could put 50 things on a to-do list, 1,000 things on a to-do list, and if you were to assign a time to everything on that to-do list, it doesn't reasonably make sense. It doesn't logically make sense. It doesn't scientifically, mathematically make sense for you to be able to do everything that's on your to-do list in a 24-hour period. But if you got to fit everything into a calendar, now you got to make sense of it. Now you got to start dropping things off. Now you got to push things off till maybe the next day, or delegate them to someone else, or eliminate them completely because they're not even important, but you're spending time doing it because it makes you feel like you're being productive when you're actually doing nothing. You're not doing anything effective. A calendar has a limit. Therefore, you have to prioritize when you put things on a calendar because you only do one thing at a time. You can only be in one place at a time. The to-do list is where important tasks go to die. If you want something important to die, put it on your to-do list. Doesn't mean that you won't get to it, because listen, some of you use to-do lists and you actually do the things that are on your to-do list. Maybe you do some of them, maybe you do most of them. You don't maybe always get to all of them, but you get to some of the things on your to-do list, right? But the to-do list is where an important task, usually if it's going to die, it's going to die on the to-do list. An important task does not die on a calendar, because if something's on a calendar, it has a priority. You can't schedule, well, you could technically, but to schedule two different things at the exact same time, maybe in two different places, two completely different areas, doesn't make sense. It doesn't logically make sense. How you gonna be at the gym and at your kid's soccer practice at the same time? Doesn't make any sense. Now, you can't put both of those on the calendar. So if you got to be at your kid's soccer practice from 2 to 4, you can't be at the gym from 3 to 3:30. You got to figure out, when am I going to get to the gym? If I know this thing is here and this is a priority, how else am I going to make this work? Now you got to start prioritizing things. Now you got to start deleting things. Now you got to start passing things off, eliminating things, delegating things. This is when you start getting serious about your time. If you're serious about your time, you schedule things on a calendar, not on a endless to-do list. You use a finite, limited calendar because it forces you to get serious about what you're really going to do and what you're really not going to do. And a lot of people are not serious about what they're going to do, so they throw it on a to-do list and say that you wrote it down and say that it's on your list, but then you never actually get to it. It doesn't happen, and then you're like, damn, I was going to do that. I've been thinking about that. I want to do that all my life. I was saying I was going to get to it someday, but damn, that was 10 years ago, and now I still haven't gotten to it. That's because you have it on a to-do list. Stop using to-do lists if you want to get serious with your time. Okay, doesn't mean you won't still do things. Doesn't mean you won't still have things to do. It's just you're not using an infinite list. You're just using something that's finite that forces you, again, to get serious about when and if you're actually going to get it done. Point number 2. Today's topic is someday means never. Point number 2. This whole thing is about holding yourself accountable to important outcomes. Now, there are some things you put on your to-do list that aren't even important, which you shouldn't even be doing. You shouldn't even be paying attention to in the first place. I'm talking about the things that really matter to you, the things that are most important. They got to be on the schedule. They got to be on the calendar, because when you say you want something but you don't put a timeline on actually getting it, and you don't make any kind of plan for bringing it to fruition, first of all, you're letting yourself off the hook, because you're saying that you want to do it, which gives you a small amount of satisfaction just to talk about it. Derek Sivers has a TED Talk on this exact topic, giving yourself a small amount of satisfaction just by talking about something but not actually doing it. So you're letting yourself off the hook a little bit with that. Secondly, you will probably see that thing that you want to do, it'll get pushed back further and further into the recesses of your mind, the recesses of your schedule, the recesses of your to-do list, as other things, other ideas, other needs, other fires that need to be put out, other emergencies, they will pop up in front of you. As I said in the introduction here, if you have something that you want to do, but you don't schedule actually doing it, there will never come a point in your life where everything that you needed to do before that is done. Like, all right, everything in my life is done. Everything is handled. I don't have anything to do. Now let me get to some of those things that are on my back burner. Some of those things that I've been wanting to do, but I never got around to doing. That time will never occur in your life, ladies and gentlemen. If you're waiting for it, you're going to be waiting for a long time, because it ain't happening. So if you have something that's on that, it's in that kind of category, is that on that level of priority, that's how much it matters to you. Like, once you get everything else done, you'll finally get around to that thing. You'll never get around to that thing, or you'll die before you get around to that thing. Okay? That want will get pushed back further and further, because every day there's going to be something else that pops up, something else that happens, something else that needs to be addressed. And here's the third thing that's going to happen when you don't schedule the things that are important, the things that you really want. You don't put a timeline on it. You are training yourself. Every time you put something off in this way, you're training yourself to the belief that what you say to yourself is not to be taken seriously, because you're not following through. I mean, if I tell myself I want to do something, but I don't put it on the schedule, I don't put any type of timeline on it, I don't give myself any serious reason to ever get to it and handle it, then what am I telling myself? Subconsciously, I'm telling myself, okay, when I say I want to do something, it's not really important. I'm not actually going to do it. I don't have to figure it out. I'm not really committed to it. I'm just talking shit to myself, and maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. I probably won't, but at least I said it. At least I wrote it down. At least I put it on my to-do list. At least I told one of my friends about it. At least I posted about it on my Facebook status update. I didn't actually do it, but you did something. Now you get a little bit of satisfaction from it. Now you lose a little bit of the edge necessary to actually motivate you and push you to actually take an action. These are the 3 things that happen when you do not use a schedule to get to, or at least plan out the things that you actually want to do in life. And I understand that this can be a challenge, because look, sometimes there are things that you want to do and you have no idea how you would actually do them if you actually needed to do it. If I actually needed to do this, how would I do this? You have no idea. I understand that that's the way it goes sometimes in life, that there are things that you want to do, you have no idea how you're going to do them, but you want to do it. So you're like, should I put that on the schedule even though I have no strategy? I have no plan. I know I don't have the resources, whatever they are. I know I don't have them right now. Should I put them on the schedule anyway? The answer is yes. You should put it on the schedule anyway, because if you put it on the schedule, now you've committed yourself. Now you've committed yourself, like we talked about in yesterday's masterclass. Now you got to figure out, all right, now how do I get this information? Who already has done this? Who has the strategy already? Who has already created the framework for how this thing gets done? Who is already doing this that I can learn from if I just go watch their video or listen to their podcast or read their book? Who already has this information? Where does this information already exist? Because the thing that you're trying to do, at least part of it, already exists. Somebody's already done it. Somebody has already achieved it. All you got to do is follow their framework. It's already laid out for you, but you got to go do it. And you got to commit yourself to that to even get started. It's really hard to get started on something when you have no idea whatsoever how you would ever do it, right? But once you put it on a schedule, then you can at least take the first step, which is let me go get the information and find out what all is involved in me getting this thing done. Then you can take the next step, then the next step, then the next step. A lot of people never even take that first step, then they never get anything done, and they're wondering why they're unhappy ultimately in their lives. Don't let that be you. Point number 3. Today's topic is someday usually means never. The things that you want but can't have right now, the reason they exist in that realm is probably because of some things in place in your current life that are getting in your way. So right now, you might want to be 30 pounds lighter, or maybe you want to put on weight. You want to be 30 pounds heavier, but you don't have that outcome right now simply because there's some things in your life right now that are getting in your way. Maybe the thing getting in your way is the fact that you can't stop eating dessert every night after dinner. Maybe the thing getting in your way is the fact that you haven't been to the gym in a year. Maybe what's getting in your way is your belief that you can't gain weight. Therefore, you won't do any of the things that will help you gain weight. Therefore, you can't put on any muscle so you stay the same size even though you want to get bigger, or at least you claim that you do. A lot of the things that are getting in your way are based on your current circumstances, and many of your current circumstances are based on the inertia of you continuing to do the same things that have gotten you to where you are, yet you claim you want to be somewhere different. Maybe you don't have time, but maybe it's something that's actual tangible and is actually legitimate that you can't do something else right now. Maybe you don't have time because you got work or you got school. Maybe you don't have the attention to give to the thing that you want to do because you got kids to take care of. Maybe you don't have the money because you just don't have the money right now. Here's the thing though. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. When you have some tangible, real thing that is keeping you from doing the thing that you want to do, for example, you can't really give time to your business because you got a full-time job, or you go to school full-time, or you can't invest in yourself or invest in your business because you just don't have the money right now, or you can't start this other project that you want to start because you got to take care of your kids. Those are real things. They are real, they're tangible, they really exist, and you can't just drop them just because somebody said something that motivated you on a podcast. I completely understand that. Here's the thing you need to understand though. The question you got to ask yourself here's an insightful question. When is this situation ever changing that you can see it changing, and you know when it's changing, and you can put that date on the calendar so that you can finally get to this other thing? That's my question for you. So if your challenge is, let's say that your aspiration is you want to start a business, but your challenge is I can't start a business right now because I work full time, and when I gotta wake up, go to work, get home, eat dinner, and by then I need to go to sleep so I can go to work again the next day. If that's your current life right now, but you want to start a business, so you have there's a real impediment to you starting this business, here's the thing that I need to ask you, or here's the thing you need to ask you. When is that situation of your job ever going to change? When is the date that that's going to change so that you do have the time to start that business? Is it on the calendar? Or is there a certain date you're getting fired, or a certain date you're retiring, or a certain date you're quitting that job so you can actually start the business that you claim that you want to start? Oh, there's no date, huh? So here's the thing. Here's the follow-up to that. The follow-up to the follow-up. If your job is blocking your time so that you can't go do the thing that you want to do due to the fact that your job is blocking your time, when is that changing? Again, are you about to quit your job? Are your hours about to get reduced? If the answers to those questions are no and no, then the fact that you have a job is not a viable excuse that allows you to keep bullshitting about starting your business. I want to let you marinate on that for a minute. See, a lot of people are not doing the thing that they want to do in life. Usually it's two common excuses people have: money and time. I want to do that thing, but I cannot afford it. I don't have the money. I want to do that thing, but I don't have the time And I can't afford it time-wise. So you could be time poor, money poor, maybe both. Problem is, the circumstances of your life, there is no change to those circumstances on your horizon. Meaning, you still work at the same job, so they're still paying you the same amount of money and still requiring the same amount of time. So the fact that you don't have money or time isn't changing unless you're quitting that job. And you're not planning on quitting the job, right? So you can't keep using that as an excuse, because you'll be using that as an excuse till the day you die. And then nothing gets done, all right? The job's gone and the business that was going to happen doesn't happen. So you can't keep using that thing as an excuse. You'll have to figure out a way to work around it or find a way to change the circumstance, or both. But you can't keep using the excuse, and a built-in excuse that you have no plans on changing that circumstance. And this is a good one to use as an example because, again, I hear people's excuses every day. And usually the excuse boils down to time or money. I can't afford that thing, okay? But what are you about to do to allow yourself to afford it? Nothing. You're going to keep doing the same things that you've been doing. So you're just going to keep not affording it forever? I mean, what the fuck? Oh, I don't have time to start my business or to do that thing or to go to the gym or to spend time with this person. Well, do you want to go to the gym? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to spend time with this person? Yes, yes, and yes. Okay, but you don't have time. So what's going to change is going to give you time. And you can't keep using the same excuse if it's a built-in excuse and it's a fixed circumstance of your life. Now the thing is, all right, well, then I'm going to have to sacrifice time somewhere else, or I'm going to have to change something over here. I'm going to have to do something different. This is the problem that a lot of people have, is that they live is Groundhog Day, right? They get into a certain circumstance that is not ideal for what they want, and they know what would get it closer to being ideal. They know what changes that they want to make, yet they don't want to take the actions to start making those changes because they're stuck in the inertia of doing what they've always done. And we all know the saying, you continue to do what you've always done, you continue to get what you've always got. So are you really committed, as we talked about yesterday, are you really committed to making that change, or are you just talking about it? Are you just saying it because it sounds good? If you're truly committed, then you got to find a way around your excuses. You got to find a way around the roadblocks or reasons or whatever word you want to use. Excuses, roadblocks, reasons, all the same shit. Now, you're not doing the thing that you want to do. Whatever you want to call that is keeping you from doing it, you need to figure out a way around that. Otherwise, you are going to die with that excuse. They're going to put that excuse in your casket. They're going to put that reason or that roadblock or that circumstance. Again, whatever word you want to use. Usually people with excuses don't call their excuses. They call them reasons or roadblocks or circumstances or situations. You call whatever the hell you want to call it. It's all the same thing. It's something that's keeping you from doing what you really want to do. Okay? That thing, all right, that X. They're going to bury you with that thing unless you decide to do something different. And doing something different doesn't necessarily mean you got to quit the job. Maybe you got to sleep less. Maybe spend less time watching TV. Maybe stop hanging out with your friends on the weekends. Maybe cancel your Netflix subscription. Maybe take some of the money you've been putting towards entertainment and put it towards your business, or put it towards your development, or put it towards your family, or whatever it is you're trying to do, or you claim you want to be trying to do, but you're not actually trying to do it yet. Too often, we use our current situation as an excuse for not doing something, but there's no change coming regarding that circumstance. And this is how our some days become nevers. Because it's connected to something that, again, no plans on changing it. So we say someday, and that makes us feel good every time we say it, but it's actually never, because the someday ain't on calendar. All right, ain't no month called someday. Ain't no day called someday. Not Sunday, S-U-N, someday, S-O-M-E. All right, that's not a day. We got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No someday. We got 12 months. I won't name them all, but none of them's called someday. At least not the last time I checked. So how many static circumstances, this is my question for you. How many static circumstances are you currently using as indefinite excuses? Let me ask that question one more time before we recap today's episode. How many static circumstances, things that are not changing, you don't see any change on the horizon, are you currently using as an indefinite excuse? Let's recap today's topic, which is someday means never. This is about having urgency about the things you want to do with your life and respecting the fact that time is not slowing down for you. All of us got stuff that we want to do, but a lot of it we put on the back burner, but let's address that today. Number one, what gets scheduled gets done. When people want more time control, I tell them start using the schedule instead of a to-do list. What's a schedule? It's called a calendar. A calendar is finite, a to-do list is not. If it's important, put it on the schedule. Point number 2. Thing about this is holding yourself accountable to important outcomes. When you say you want something but you don't put a timeline on it, you don't make any kind of plan for bringing it to fruition, first of all, you're letting yourself off the hook. Secondly, you'll probably see that want get pushed further and further back. And third, you're training yourself to not believe in anything that you say to yourself. Number 3, the things that you want but can't have right now, they're that way because of something in your life that is getting in the way. Maybe you don't have time, maybe you don't have money, maybe you got other things going on. I understand that. So here's my question. When are any of those other things ever going to change to actually give you the time that you need? If your job is blocking your time, so you can't do something due to that, are you about to quit your job? If your kids are getting in your way, you about to get rid of your kids? If you don't have the money, what are you about to do to make some more money? If you don't have an answer to these questions, then that means you have a circumstance that is not changing, but you have an indefinite excuse that is locked in, that you're going to keep using that same excuse over and over again, even though you don't have any change on the horizon to that situation or what it is that you have going on. So how is anything ever going to change if you don't change the circumstance or you don't change anything that's around the circumstance? How many static circumstances, here's the question I'm going to ask you to close this here. How many static circumstances are you currently using as indefinite excuses? You don't have a plan to change it. You don't see any way that it's going to change, but you got things that thing is blocking you from actually getting to, but you haven't gotten to it yet. You think about that one. Work on your game. Dre all day.